Hi guys, it's Wendy from Ask the Landlady. I'm here with all the tips and tricks to help you make a profit in real estate rentals. And today's question is, how do I verify the income on my rental applicants? Which is a great question. And first of all, you should always verify income when you're evaluating your rental applications, no matter how charming the person seems or how much cash they throw at you. You still need to obtain that verification. It's very important. You want to ensure that the tenants are, first of all, being truthful on their application and about their income, that they can actually afford to pay the rent. So, and general rule of thumb is that 3 to 1. So if the rent is $1,000 a month, you want to make sure that they are taking home 3,000 a month to be able to afford that. Now, in today's market, and depending on where you're at and what type of properties you have, and whether there's some other factors that the people are getting some help with, some public assistance, that type of thing, you may look at lower levels like 2 or 2.5%, depending on your situation there. And especially if they're able to get some free utilities, those types of programs, you're going to mediate that ratio down. But here's some pointers about verifying income. First of all, you want to verify employment with copies of pay stubs. Don't just take the word for it. Don't just call some random number that they've given you to verify that, because they could be setting you up. This could be a total scam, right? Always go to the website, find out where they work, find out that information, verify that phone number, verify that you're actually calling their employer to do that. And then as far as your pay stubs go, it can be really easy for people to scam you on those as well. If you just do an internet search for fake pay stubs, or you'll be directed, your mind will be blown. You will be directed to all these illegal websites that just come up and crash and burn as they get caught. But they will falsify records and use PDF filler programs. You can do it yourself, honestly, but there's lots of places out there that are actually making these fake documents. So you want to get the paper ones, and then you want to get a hold of the actual employer and verify that those amounts are correct, and do that, because there is a lot of fraud out there. So another thing you might want to do is obtain bank application, bank information, that especially if they do direct deposit, to see that amount's actually going in there. People might balk at that, or some tenants may not have bank accounts, and they don't want you to have that sensitive information. That's why calling the employer is a good idea. Just, again, like I said, make sure it's the actual employer's number and not just their cousin that's sitting there on the phone and going to tell you what you want to hear. If your tenant is retired, that can happen. They're living the dream, or they're independently wealthy, or self-employed, or just living off investments, trust fund baby, whatever. You can request tax information and bank accounts, because they're going to have that stuff, to verify the income. And you want to definitely cross-reference and just see what is going through there, and also try to make sure that they aren't false documents or have been doctored. And of course, if your applicant receives Social Security, they can obtain a letter from Social Security. They can print something off from their account that gives them verification, or they can even come in and pull their account up for you so that you can get that verification. And if people are working with agencies, like they get child support or utility assistance, all those agencies can provide them with the verification, because the number one thing is you want to make sure you don't do yourself a favor, for sure, or the tenant a favor, if you're letting them get into an apartment that they can't afford. Now, if they're falsifying the information, that's definitely wrong. And if you find out later, make sure that's in your lease document, that if they falsify that information, that you can get them out, especially because, usually it's going to mean they're not going to be able to meet their bills, because they told you they made $3,000 a month and they make $1,500, right? Well, they're obviously going to struggle to make $1,000 rental if they're only making $1,500 a month. See what I'm saying there? So that's why it's important, definitely, to verify the income. So again, it's not easy to be a landlady and landlord. We have so many things to think about, and here's another one. So shoot me a comment. Have you been verifying income? How do you go about doing it? And do you have any crazy stories? Because we love to hear those, because again, we're all in this together and we can only learn from each other. So have a great day and make some profit.